Here's why K-Pop Demon Hunters was a smash hit with Gen Z and why they skipped Elio. A few weeks ago, K-Pop Demon Hunters and Elio were released on the same day. One from Sony Animation and Netflix, the other from Pixar Animation and Disney. One was the #1 movie in 26 countries, the other flopped at the box office. One has a soundtrack that's slowly dominating the Billboard charts, and the other is Elio. Both of these films have great stories, but K-Pop Demon Hunters has made a huge impact on not just the animation industry, but also pop culture as a whole. The first and obvious reason is that K-Pop Demon Hunters has an amazing visual style and an incredible soundtrack. The film combines influences from anime, manga, and even Sony's own Spider-Verse franchise. This movie has some of the best choreography that I've ever seen in 3D animation, both fighting and dancing. Within the last few decades, Korean media and culture have slowly permeated into American pop culture. Netflix has been heavily investing in Korean media. They know that there are much larger markets out there than the US, and that's why they felt confident that K-Pop Demon Hunters would be a smash hit with fans of Korean media. Not all K-pop fans are Gen Z, but a ton of Gen Z are K-pop fans. If you've mostly stayed away from K-pop like I have, you might be surprised to learn just how large that demographic is. All we have to do is look at the statistics.
Statistic, yep.
The top trending celebrities on social media are K-pop artists. The #1 show in the world right now is a Korean drama, and the largest music group in the world just completed their mandatory military service and is gearing up for what might be the best comeback in pop music history. Korean media and K-pop is a huge market, and it's a no-brainer to make this film for this insanely passionate fan base. K-Pop Demon Hunters is the brainchild of Maggie Kang, who created the story as a love letter to Korean media and culture by combining ancient Korean folklore with modern references to K-pop and K-dramas, and so much more. Based on the logline alone, it's no surprise that K-Pop Demon Hunters did so well. My friend Eula actually made an awesome video diving further into the logline of these films, and she's also way more educated about K-pop than I am. You can check out that video in the description. What I will add to her perspective is that as an outsider to K-pop, I never once felt ostracized or belittled by the film for not being in the know. In fact, it left me wanting to learn more about Korean culture. This is what cinema is all about. If you're enjoying this video so far, you should hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this one. Thank you. So why did Gen Z skip Elio? They're so much more interested in films with unique experimental aesthetics like Spider-Verse or Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. The visual style of Elio has received mixed reactions. Many people complain that Elio looks like many of Pixar's other films. As much as I personally like the current art style of Pixar, it's a look that's now more accessible to everyone via AI TikTok filters, because they've been trained on these Pixar movies. But Gen Z doesn't want AI, they want aesthetics. Audiences have gotten used to these studios continuously raising the bar for what animation can look and feel like. Elio has some amazing technical achievements, but it's not a look that connects with Gen Z anymore. They're exposed to shocking content online earlier than ever before, to the point where Elio feels a little bit too childish for them. They want stories that understand them and make them feel heroic, like the stories coming out of Sony. Thematically, Elio feels less like a film for kids and more like a film for parents. Parents who have become very angry at Pixar in recent years. It's frustrating because Elio provides such a useful tool for parents on how to approach raising a child that feels slightly different from his peers. And they're the exact type of people that should be watching this movie. According to The Hollywood Reporter, the studio stripped a lot of the LGBTQ+ themes after test screenings and fear of further public backlash after Lightyear. The film's original director stepped away from the project, and the director of Pixar's own boy band film, Domi-shi, stepped in along with first-time director Madeline Sharafian. Together, these two steered the ship through the dumbed-down executive notes and extended production schedules. And after all that, people are still calling Elio woke. Stripping Elio of its LGBTQ+ themes is a great way to alienate Gen Z and make sure that they don't care to watch it. The marketing campaign for Elio was also non-existent. At least that's what every other comment online says about Elio. In reality, if we look at the statistics, the film relied heavily on advertising techniques that worked 20 years ago. They put out numerous cable TV spots, partnered with the Department of Defense, and even made Happy Meal toys. But Disney knows for a fact that kids are more interested in iPads than Happy Meal toys. I mean, just look at the villain for Toy Story 5. By marketing to the wrong audience for Elio, Disney can justify making so many more spin-offs, sequels, and reboots. They can claim that audiences don't show up for original stories and animation, but the success of K-Pop Demon Hunters shows that this could not be further from the truth. But I'm not going to sit here and blame kids for the collapse of a multi-billion-dollar industry. Instead, we need to talk about the elephant in the room: or rather, the auditorium. Because in my opinion, there is one reason why Elio flopped. Let's face it, the modern movie theater experience is a mess. This is why movie tickets are so expensive. Movie studios negotiate a high percentage of revenue from theaters, often around 70 to 90% in the first few opening weeks, which means that theaters, in order to offset how much they're losing from the actual ticket sales, have to raise the prices of concessions to deal with it. Add in a global pandemic, shorter theatrical windows, and an increase in the amount of pre-show ads, and you see how we got here. And this is what studios are trying to sell us on. Let's compare my experience of watching Elio with watching K-Pop Demon Hunters. For Elio, one ticket for myself cost $17.24. This wasn't a Friday night either. This was 1:30 on a Wednesday. Already, I've paid the same amount of money for one ticket that I do for an entire month of Disney+. Before the showing, I realized that I was running late to the bus to get to the theater. The price of an Uber was too high, so I took the slightly cheaper option, a Waymo. Now, this was more my own fault, but transportation to and from the theater is a cost to consider. The ride cost me $10.37. Call me crazy, but I like to have snacks when I watch a movie. A small popcorn, a soft pretzel, and a small lemonade comes out to $28.30. The theater I went to was a little understaffed, and they needed to hunt somebody down to make the pretzels for me, which is usually fine, but it ended up taking about 15 minutes, and I missed the first 10 minutes of the movie. In total, I spent $55.91 to watch most of a movie. Now let's compare that to my experience watching K-Pop Demon Hunters. I sat down on my couch, pulled up the movie on my TV, and I hit play. That's it. Now I have my own private screening with subtitles, eating snacks I already bought from Trader Joe's, all for no additional cost. The difference is night and day. Disney's target audience was families, but a trip to the theater for a family could cost well over $200. And if you're Gen Z and you have no money, the last thing you want to do is go spend $60 on one movie. Streaming is simply much more accessible to modern audiences. To me, the answer is so clear. If studios and theaters want to keep up with streaming, they need to stop blaming Gen Z and significantly reduce the price of going to the movies. Despite the high cost of admission, Elio actually looked and sounded really great on the big screen. I wish I had that opportunity with K-Pop Demon Hunters, but you can't beat the price of free. I can see Elio doing really well on Disney Plus for the families that are already paying the $17 a month. So is original animation dead? What should we take away from this? Sony Animation took a chance on an artist with a story to tell. Were they swayed by how much they thought they could make on a K-pop movie? No doubt. But in the end, they put their money where their mouth is. Sony's next original film is another wild story from another first-time director. This is not a coincidence anymore. This is now a business plan. But let's not get it twisted either. Elio is a fantastic story. Underneath all the executive decisions to soften the impact of the character, he's the only 11-year-old today who is not glued to a smartphone, which might explain why kids his age don't really connect with him. Maybe the film would have reached a larger audience had it not stripped away much of what made it special. But those audiences have moved on to something more exciting. K-pop. To any movie executives that are still watching this video, please understand this. Gen Z wants original stories. They want new franchises with exciting aesthetics to meet them where they already are, physically as well as financially. The Amazing Digital Circus is one of the biggest animated series in the world right now because it's available to watch for free on YouTube. And because of that popularity, it's also now on Netflix. All this goes to show that we never really know where the next great story is going to come from, which is why we need to empower more women, people of color, and LGBTQ+ voices to tell their stories. If it means we get movies like K-Pop Demon Hunters, we truly have nothing to lose and everything to gain. I'm gonna be making a frame-by-frame analysis talking about K-Pop Demon Hunters and its animation style, so let me know what your favorite scene is in the comments, and I'll try to take a look at that one. Subscribe and follow me on Patreon to see it before anyone else. Until next time, thank you for watching.